Sounds great. Thank you very much. Okay. Whew. Exciting. Oh, everybody looks so good. Hello out there, and welcome back to Reclaiming My Time, a Black History Month con presented to you by Team Stream Queens. Hi out there. It's me again, Mickey Mirage, the magically melanated pixie princess of drag, a proud member of Team Stream Queens, and extra melanated today because I just got so stuffy up underneath that synthetic wig. I had to let it breathe. I had to take it down because we are going to come to Earth and talk about Black hair and how it relates to our personal day-to-day lives, its history, and hopefully its future. So with me today is an amazing group of panelists that I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves. So I'll call you off, and I would love for you to just go ahead, tell Twitch a little bit of who you are, what you do, what you love, and you know what, let's start it off in theme. What's your favorite way or favorite part of your hair and the way that you style yourself? All right? So we'll start with Hot Pink Shade. Hey, baby.
Ohayou gozaimasu. My name is Hot Pink Shade. I am a Twitch content creator, still trying to figure out my way around it. And I also love doing drag. I love being a go-go dancer, and when I'm not being a magical creature, my muggle job
Period.
is a cashier at Buffalo Wild Wings. So
Ooh,
yeah, I be wearing the
wait.
hungry.
So I should have warned y'all, I'm a Taurus, so you cannot be talking about food in the chat.
Yeah, I know. I'm already hungry. My stomach just looked at me and said, "Shut the hell up," because I'm hungry now.
If you stay
Um,
hungry, you don't have to get hungry. That's all I'm gonna say on that.
see, I should have brought some dang food to this.
Yeah.
I think my favorite part about my hair, just being able, like, having access and having the creative mind to do what I do with my hair,
Yeah.
whether it be um, braids or box braids, cornrows, however you want to refer to them, even just picking it out, sometimes just rolling out of bed and
Mhm.
having that print at the back or that print on the side.
Yeah.
I think that's honestly just knowing that that has been my whole life and I'm still here and it's actually helped me through so much, just being a unique individual. I think that's just my favorite part. It's just my hair existing the way it is.
Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much for being here, Hot Pink Shade. I'm very excited. Yay! Our next panelist is amazing. You might say that they are Jasmine amazing. Gothis Jasmine is joining us today. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Amazing, also known as Goddess Jasmine, goth art goddess, if you will.
Mhm.
And I think that my favorite thing about my hair is, of course, the versatility, like Hot Pink Shade said, but also that it's still uniquely me. Like I'm sure we're going to get into all the different facets of blackness and how hair can be completely different, just like how being black can be different,
Mm.
but it still wields so much power and individuality. And today I'm looking devilish, and I love it.
You're giving me you're giving me a lot of things. Feelings mostly. A lot of feelings. You can't be doing this to me in Pisces season, girl, because once the feelings start, they don't stop in February, okay?
Also, I must say, my child's a Pisces, and my two best friends are both Tauruses, born on 420.
Oh my god,
So
it's serendipitous that you're here today.
it's the vibe.
I am very sorry for your loss. As a Taurus, I am sorry. On behalf of all Taurians, I apologize. For nothing. All right, moving
Absolutely.
on. Moving along, we have the wonderful Joe Mama Funny. Hi, how are ya?
Okay, I'm great. How you doing, Mickey?
I'm doing so well, and I'm happy that you could join us. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you do, where your art takes place, where it lives, and your favorite way to wear your hair.
Oh my goodness, so much. No, hi everyone. It's so great to be here. I am not a fish out of water, but definitely a fish in a fish bowl. So I don't know what the hell I'm doing going on with things, but I'm just so happy to be here in this moment with all of you. And one of the things I do with my art, I do a lot of cosplay. I'm a huge old geek. I start streaming a lot next month. If you look me up for Joe Mama Funny on Twitch, you'll find me. We've got the Joe Show. We've got art, which if you the F stands for something, whatever you want it to be, and everything I'm doing. And I also I'm with another member going on here of the Chicago Black Drag Council, and we're trying to do our best to uh, move society in the way it needs to move. You know, including not just race, but all the societal needs that we need.
Yeah.
uh, which is the whole thing to unpack. And speaking of unpacking, this hair, honey, let's talk about it, right? Is
Let's.
this like Black Pig Bundy meets like a little retro? Naomi Campbell did this spread, and I said, I need hair to match this. And sure enough, they matched it close enough. I'm happy to wear it like this. But I'm happiest when I first wake up and I can just pick my hair up and just live my life before I have to answer the door or talk to anyone else and just live in my own peace.
I love that. Well, thank you for being here, and I really appreciate that. Especially, thank you for bringing up the fact that you are with Lucy, who we're going to introduce next, a co-president of the Chicago Black Drag Council. Y'all are doing incredible work. If you haven't seen, they do content here on Twitch as well, and off Twitch all over the place, all the time. Really repping for why Blackness is so great and so powerful. They have really been doing that and pushing for change, and we feel it. Let me tell you, as a former Chicagoan, now I'm living in Denver, the influence is felt everywhere and it's talked about everywhere. And that is because it is important and it is powerful. So I really appreciate you taking the time out of your day to join us today, Joe. Thank you.
Happy to be
And
here. Thank you very much.
of course. And thank you as well. Moving on to the other co-president, Lucy. Hi. You look so cozy right now.
Hello, hello, hello. Yes, I'm reporting here from my living room with my bisexual lighting, and I am ready to talk to everyone about some hair and such. I'm Chicago's Black Bearded Beauty, and as y'all know, I am a drag performer and activist and part-time hoe, and I also have my
Part-time.
own. Yeah, you're right. There ain't no part-time to it.
Let's
It's
not
a
start the
full-time
panel off
job.
with lies and treachery, okay?
You know me too well. You know what's up, girl. Full-time hoe. I have my own sex toy line, and yeah, my hair. You know, that's always a funny, special thing for me because you know I lost my beautiful hair around like 26, 27.
Mm.
So my beard really became my everything. So yeah, it's kind of why it's also such a big part of my drag. So
Right. Well, I was going to say, like, it's really important, I think, that you are here for this panel because you represent, at least for me and definitely a lot of people, one of the people who pioneered pushing against the stereotype that drag queens cannot have facial hair or blend masculinity. So, like, you are one of the most iconic beards in drag, and that, I think, definitely qualifies you to be here to talk about it because, baby, that hair has changed lives and changed holes. So
that is true. I'll give you that. I give you that. Thank you, Nikki.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, and thank you for being here, Mama. I love ya. That brings me to our final panelist of this panel. We've got the beautiful Red Ivy. Hi, how are ya? Oh, you're muted, baby. We need to hear those dulcet tones.
Hi, yeah, I'm good. Hi, I'm Red Ivy. I'm a variety streamer over here on Twitch. Twitch.tv/Red Ivy with 2 Ys. Make sure you remember the second Y. People forget. So yeah, I'm a variety streamer. So like oh, you can't see my hair right now because today my hair was not working for me. I want to see, you know, not on my full, you know, my natural beauty, but like my hair was not working for me today. So I just had to like put this on because I really wanted to do my natural hair, but
Yeah.
you know how hair be sometimes.
It has a mind of its own,
Mhm.
and that mind
Mhm.
changes every day,
Mhm.
sometimes throughout the
That part.
day.
Truly.
Very
Um,
much.
but like, let's say, hey, that's the reason that wigs are a iconic and integral part of the Black community, because sometimes
Mhm.
you don't need that, but you want to put that persona on, and that persona is just as valid as rocking your natural hair. So power to you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you look gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yes. Well, thank you so much for introducing yourselves, y'all. This is our wonderful panel. Before we get started with our content, go ahead and type !reps or reparations in the chat, because that will bring up a link where you can donate to the panel, which is going to be given out to all of our panelists. They are donating their time and their energy and their emotional labor. So we really appreciate any tips that we can generate tonight. If you are able to give, definitely do so. I really, really appreciate it. And we're going to be reminding you throughout the panel. That being said, let's dive into it. Y'all ready to talk about some hair?
Yes.
I think so too. Okay, great. Let me go ahead and pull up my questions, because I had a list of questions and I want to follow them because they're very important. All right. Heavy or light? What y'all want to go first? You want to dive in the deep end, or we want to take it light real quick?
Dive in
Okay. So we
I'm
were
all for
discussing, let's go in hard. We were discussing on the last panel that I just moderated. It was the mixed race panel. And I had brought up something that has been brought up in pretty much every panel in different ways. Where were you that first moment where you had that realization of the world looks at me different, right? And specifically for, okay, well, let that sink in for a second. Yep, that first racist white woman who looked at you the wrong way and said that thing to you. We all remember that. But I specifically, in regards to the hair panel, I wanted to talk about that moment where you were told that your hair wasn't beautiful. Because I think that every Black person has had that experience in America. If you feel comfortable sharing an anecdote, it doesn't have to be the first, but what is an experience from your past that has definitely been formulative in shaking you and having to fight against thinking that your hair was beautiful?
You know, something that like first pops to my mind is the fact that growing up, I was always told my hair was so beautiful.
Mm.
And I grew up in such a community that was so Black that even within it, you know, I had good hair.
Right.
My hair was good. It was curly. It was pretty. So like I was fine. I never thought anything of it until I went to a college that was nothing but white people.
Mm-hmm.
And I had friends who would literally, you know, like put their fingers in my hair and be like, ew, oh my God, it's greasy. Like, why does it curl like this? Oh, this is so different and weird. And it's just so odd because to me it was something that it was always celebrated. And then it wasn't until I like stepped out that I was like, what the fuck? what
Yeah.
what do you
Like,
mean?
what do
Like,
you mean
I
this
was
is my
literally-
hair?
I had never seen The Wizard of Oz when I went to college. I'd only seen The Wiz. So like, you
Right.
know, it was a shocking moment for me because I was like, what do you mean? I have like V hair, which is like a whole nother, you know, like comment and conversation about,
Which
you know,
we can
good
talk about.
hair and
Yeah.
everything else. But yeah, it was college for me. It was really when I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah. That thank you for sharing that. And it's interesting that that moment can come based off of your experiences. So some people, if depending on where they were born or where they were raised, they might have gotten that realization or that pushback against their natural beauty like right away, young. But it's, I think, definitely powerful and informative that you had that later. So I'm curious eventually, well, as we continue to talk, how that has shaped that, because every person, I think hair is a very personal piece of their identity for every Black person. And I'm so excited to hear about how that is different for each and every one of y'all. Thank you, Lucy. Red Ivy, you wanted to share, where were you when somebody had first made you feel different about your hair, or tried to make you feel different about your hair?
So most of my life, I've always, I always had my hair in braids. Especially, this was before I cut it. But no, I remember one time in elementary school where it was like my mom, like my mom was like, oh, it's time to take out your braids, like so we can redo them. So I had to take out my braids, but my mom didn't have enough time like that previous day to redo my braids. So I went to school the next day and just like my big natural and I had long hair in like elementary school. So like I went to school in just like in my full natural hair. It was big and up and poofy and just like to me I loved it. But but a girl in my class, she came up to me and she told me, "Why did you change your hair? Like, you should go back to how your hair used to be. Like, you look way better like that." And I'm like, "Excuse you?" At the time, like I was a child, so I didn't really think like much of it. But then as I got older, I'm like looking back on that, I'm just this bitch. Like, how is she gonna say like that? How my natural hair is just like when it's free, that it's not like nice. I was like,
Yeah.
I felt nice with like that. I felt nice, like my hair just free and just out and big, and I love that about it. But like, it was the whole now thinking about it, it's so shocking to think that people I guess because she was a child, so like maybe I don't know, she wasn't used to seeing that. I don't really know because I did grow up in the suburbs, and so I grew up in a very I grew up in a very kind of a white neighborhood. So there wasn't many black kids around.
Sure.
So I guess maybe she wasn't used to it, but it was just it just threw me off to think
Right.
that
Oh yeah, I mean, I can. Yeah, that's definitely it's the audacity for me is what I want to say about that. But let me tell you, you do not have to make excuses for their ignorance, but I definitely understand where that comes from. Like, a lot of people get very bold when they're confronted with situations they're not used to, and sometimes those situations happen to be people, and sometimes those people are Black people. The first ever Black person they've ever seen, and now all of a sudden they have a lot to say because really they're just uncomfortable because this is new for them. And yeah, I think a lot of people probably have had similar experiences to you, Red Ivy. Thank you for sharing that. Would anybody else like to share a moment from your past?
Of when we first realized that our hair was different.
Was different, yeah.
For me, it was specifically came from my parents. Mixed heritage background. It was seen as my mom was struggling with how to figure it out, and she kind of made too much of a to do about it to where it was like, okay, so overdo how much work I have to put into this, and then kind of be like, okay, so we're gonna make this work, and so we're gonna take you to the Black hair stores. But learning for me as a child, as a 4 or 5 year old, of what goes into your hair, the process of sitting down, of which should be a nurturing process, became kind of a chore, and that was enough of a disruption for me as a child to realize that this isn't normal, this isn't natural, things aren't cool and copacetic about it, and it only provided a layer as things went further and forward until strangers started grabbing at your hair. To which didn't take long. I remember being at the mall, North Lake Mall in Atlanta, Georgia, and a white woman coming out of nowhere and touching my hair. And this is something that's followed me my entire life. And just literally coming up to me as a child, touching my hair, and my mom seeing it and at first kind of freaking out and be like, "Oh yes, okay, touch the hair," rather than get off my baby, and just it was kind of a nightmare to be unsure about it. But it definitely made me not only feel that I was different, but somewhere that my hair was a burden.
Yeah.
And kind of shaped the way that I handled, especially because my parents are military of people, to just shave it off and never deal with it again. it wasn't until senior year when I learned that Justin Guarini had big curls and this wonderful afro that I could do the same. So it
Mhm.
kind of like, it's weird how early shame can shape your entire existence and how much that can affect you in your life. Because hair really is the root. It can be a root. Your existence, how how the world perceives you.
Absolutely, pun intended. Yeah. I no, I definitely see that. I feel that, and I talking about hair being a burden. We'll definitely circle back to that point because I think that there's a lot to unpack there in terms of how much work goes into maintaining your hair as a Black person or a person with natural hair. There's a lot of work that goes into it, and there's a lot of mindfulness that goes into it. You mentioned that that experience shaped you and followed you everywhere, right? I think that a lot of us feel that, right? We all carry that with us. Every time right before you leave the house, you double, triple, quadruple, quintuple check your hair, right? I think at least for me, that's one of the biggest things I always check before I'm leaving the house. Like that's going to dictate whether I feel good in my skin or not. Like if my hair doesn't look right for me, I know that that's going to throw me off all day. That's going to make me feel like, oh God, I look like a crazy person. And that is internalized. That has been a product of society, right? That is something that I fight against, that we all fight against, is the feeling of, I look crazy. That's not acceptable, right? That's not true either. But we internalize it because society has put that on us because of experiences that, like what the ones that we're sharing now. Thank you, Joe, for sharing that. Hot Pink, Jasmine, would you like to add anything?
Mine actually came in two parts. One,
Yeah.
unfortunately, both surrounded by hair salons. When I was like a child, like I think I was like 4. I remember my mom always took me to uh, the Korean barbershops about 20 miles away from where we live. Because when it came to doing like fades or whatever, whenever it's time for me to get my hair cut, they did the best job, period. They hooked it up. I'm not even gonna lie about it. But I remember one time the one of the newer ladies at the salon said, "Oh, it's good you're getting your hair cut because you'll never get a job if you just leave your hair like this."
Mm-hmm.
And me being a child, like you- I'm still falling over, stubbing my knee or stubbing my toe and crying about it. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe she's just trying to be funny, whatever. But it kind of hurt my feelings. Like, excuse me, did this bitch just call me ugly? So all right,
Right.
whatever. And then, and so I kind of suppressed that until like I think 7 or 8 years down the road. Once again, my mom and I going to a hair salon, but this time my mom was going to like Hair Masters or Supercuts or these hoity-toity places. And I don't know if the manager was just having a bad day or she just was not a fan of black hair. But um, when my mom and I rolled in to try, because it was just a walk-in, um, she looked at my hair and like you could hear like the irritation in her breath
Mm.
because she just goes, okay, let me go see if Tiffany's here. I think that was the girl's name, Tiffany. And
Mm.
I was like I was approaching my teenage years. And at this point, popularity in school, how you look, your aesthetic, what the music you listen to, the dances you know how to do at a school dance are important. They
Mm-hmm.
really definitely set the tone on where your social standing is going to be in school. And so the fact that I had suppressed this pain before, and now I'm having not only to relive it again, but now I really understand what it is to be looked at or what it is to be judged negatively and positively by the outside world. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
People really be looking at afros like it's a curse or some shit, or
Yeah.
like it's a burden. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm sorry, we gotta give that one the special barber, or we gotta
Right.
set that one way at the back.
Mm-hmm.
Just like I'm sitting here like,
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Why you huffing and puffing at me? This is
Well,
my
there's a
hair.
whole lot to unpack there, considering
So
I think a lot of people who are trained in hair and go into hair don't learn how to work with black hair. I don't think that you should have to be black or raised around black people to understand how to work with natural hair. If you consider yourself a consummate hair professional and you tout your degree, I think you should be able to work with all hair. But there's also so many layers to that, where you said putting people in the back. There's the racism element to it, where if we feature a black client in a prominent place in our store, that is advertising to other black customers that we accept that, and they don't want the, clearly in your case, it was to them a burden. Whether or not that is true is, it's not true. We'll just say that. But yeah, that's there's a lot to unpack there, and that is why I think hair is such a powerful statement, and that's why I think it's such a powerful topic within blackness, because having hair growing out of your head is somehow an act of radicalism in America as a black person. Just allowing your hair to grow out of your head is somehow a protest, right? Well, thank you for sharing that, and we'll definitely circle back to talk about some of that, because I definitely want to get into it. Jasmine, before I ask another question, would you like to add on to this?
Yeah, of course. Thank you all for sharing as well. I would actually like to express that I had a similar experience as like Joe Mama and a little bit of even Lucy Stool, where my Nana, my mother's mother, is a hairstylist and owns and runs a hair salon for over 30 years in Southern California. And to my family, I had good hair, but it was like motherland hair. It's like thick
Mm,
and it was considered a burden. It was hard to handle. So I've had relaxers and, haircuts keeping it to a certain length since I could remember pretty much. And I remembered, of course, the phase in life where you want to wear your hair like you see other people wear their hair. And I
mhm.
was born in 1991, so in like
Hello.
2001, um, when everybody is like, everyone's
Pressed.
real white as
Yeah,
well.
yeah,
If
y-
you're not super pressed. And then plus relaxers didn't work on me, so my edges would always be grown out in a week. And then
mm,
I always wanted my hair like the side bang actually like gelled to my head and ponytails,
yeah,
and I'd have like the chicken head hair style that's like sticking out in the back. And I just was like made fun of by everybody at some
yeah,
point, even my family, they were
yeah.
just they thought that relaxing my hair and cutting it would make it more manageable, and it never did.
Mm,
And then before my mother joined the military, we moved around a lot. Like we were homeless at some point, moved with other people living in their garages and stuff like that. So when you start living in different places and in different societies, you realize that like hair is not just a statement, but has been used as a weapon against Black people
yeah,
for so long, even within our own communities,
definitely.
that um, but you don't really notice it until retrospect, until it's already happened and you're looking back. And
Hmm.
that's when you start seeing like the effect on everything. And as an adult now, like I've shaved my head completely bald several times now,
Yeah,
just to see what it's like the next time. It's like a reincarnation. It's like
hmm,
got multiple personalities and
yeah,
um, spirits. But I think that there are still times where I'm like, oh, well, I don't look like the next performer because I can't lay my edges. They won't go down. They
that's not how they behave.
No, it's not like that. And then I want to be like a better performer, a better artist. And I do this really fucked up thing where I'm comparing myself to other people in the community, especially other Black people, obviously. But I'm just
Sure.
like, how? What can I do? But then you have to
Yeah,
like claim yourself, claim your own, and see that Blackness is so unique. That like it's the
yeah,
most diverse of all the cultures. So
yeah.
I'm just going to be a person who literally draws on their edges
Draw them on.
forever. forever.
that.
That'll be me. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, whether you choose to draw them on or not, we think you're beautiful either way. Thank you for sharing that. It's really interesting. I think that the majority of people have at one point in their life decided just cut it all off, get it off me. It's such a burden. It's an emotional labor. It's physical labor. And you mentioned, I don't want to dive in too deep into this, but you mentioned your travels and at various stages of your life, like your financial situation. Black hair is expensive, y'all. It is expensive to take care of it. And I think a big thing, perhaps we should talk about this next, is it ties into what you were talking about, a lack of information and a lack of product. So there isn't as much options for us to go in and get products that are going to work on our hairs. Therefore, the few that are there that are going to work are always radically overpriced, incredibly expensive, and they very rarely teach you how to utilize these tools. So unless you're raised in a community that is very skillful at hair, you're kind of left to the wolves, right? Where can we as Black people find resources to learn how to take care of about our hair and celebrate it? Does anybody have any thoughts?
For me personally, I definitely have learned so much through the power of the YouTubes, the internets. We are a species that we're technically a hive mind. So we all share information constantly. And at any point, somebody wants to learn something, we could just like tap in and search, where can I learn this? Even though my nana is a hairstylist, she's a certain type of person, and there's only so much that I could have learned from her. Like I was putting shea butter in my hair, I was using coconut oil to, do my scalp and stuff like that at some point, but that wasn't enough for my hair. It just wasn't enough, and so I had to start joining communities and going to events that were about Black people for Black people.
Right.
Because a lot of our hair products that we think are Black owned are not. And it's really important that if we're saving our monies and our coins to purchase these things, like you said, there is a class gap. Only a certain kind of people can have access to this. And so if we're saving our coins for products for our hair and we find out that it's owned by somebody who is ignorant about our hair, does not have to worry about the same things, and they don't even have a staff that could accommodate or even know what we're looking for,
Right.
then we're being lost we're like in the dark. So being a part of communities, going to events, and like following Black hair care, Afro spiritualistic pages as well, if you want to do it the healthy way, have really helped me.
Definitely. And I think that is very valid. I think in a lot of ways, there is a lot of people who are not Black capitalizing off of Blackness. The more present and prevalent Black culture becomes, and the more we continue to celebrate ourselves and say, you know what? Enough with the fucking relaxers. We're going to wear our hair naturally, and we're going to start uplifting one another online, on social media. There's been a huge push for that. That's when out of the woodwork starts coming Black owned businesses that as soon as you follow the link, you realize, oh no, there's a white CEO on this Black owned business. They just used a Black person's face to be the face of the company. Do we have any thoughts about that, about the capitalization and the appropriation of Black hair?
You mean colonizing?
What?
You mean white people coming and colonizing our hair as they colonize so many other things without precedence, without thought, without even giving a doubt to themselves of whether they have the right to our roots? That's what you mean?
Yeah.
Yes,
we can talk about it.
I mean, it's crazy. We were growing up in Atlanta, Georgia, very much a Black mecca, and the closest tie that I had to a couple things were because my white mother, the commercials. So we were giving the commercials of "Just for Me." Remember that product? So shown a lot of relaxers. We were shown that the first Black millionaire was given so because she was some people say an assimilationist, to where she said, "Hey, we're relaxing our hair, making ourselves societally acceptable to advance, and if you do so, you'll be given money." Um, and there's always a give and take, which is a whole other argument, but which I love, and I'm CJ Walker with all my heart, and I fully back all of that. But when we look at it in our current stance now and where we are now, when you were talking about moving back to a natural movement, which we tried to do a couple times, um, no black person's a monolith, and everyone's allowed to wear their hair however they want.
Absolutely.
And I just think it's important that we all keep empowering that way and keep moving that way, and making sure that natural hair is prestigious, is
Right.
regal, isn't lower class, isn't commonplace,
Yeah.
isn't lowbrow, isn't, and that's something I learned from Lucy. Lucy always showed me with beard and beard texture, and with hair, and even wearing your big hair and being proud about it. She really helped me come out of shedding all those things. And it's I don't know if Lucy, you want to take the lead on this, but it's like you have to get over the hump, and it's a hump that society put in our way.
Hmm.
And the
Well,
pride has to come from our own community
yeah,
first.
definitely. And to your point, you mentioned that the first Black millionaire had relaxed hair, and so it was giving this impression that this is what you need to do to have the money. I would almost even go further than that, because there have been laws, and are still today laws, that you cannot carry a job if you wear your hair in certain styles of like black hair. So it's not even just a matter of if you relax your hair, you fortune will follow. It's a matter of this is how you wear your hair, because the other way is by law not allowed.
And
So
so there's the legislation going into place to correct that. But the fact that we need legislation to allow us to be ourselves is insane.
yeah, the fact that we need the legislation, and the fact that it's 2021, y'all. It's 2021, y'all, and it's still illegal to be black and have hair at the same time. So yeah, go figure. But like let's talk about that a little bit. We started getting into the the relaxed versus natural hair. Now I know that this is like a big point of contention, because the communities, there's a lot of infighting in the community based off of if people wearing relaxed hair are shirking their blackness, or are they rejecting their culture, are they, when they're definitely damaging themselves, because chemicals are very harsh, but when done properly it's not as damaging to the hair. Plus we dye our hair all the time, like we live in a modern society.
That part.
The
Yeah.
people have the right to wear their hair how they like, but versus the natural community that is built on the premise of uplifting the self, and raising natural hair out of this negative conception that, or perception that it's bad or it's low class, which is very valid as well. But how do we feel about the battle between this? Like, what feelings does it give you?
Um, for me personally, I think that I kind of draw the line or feel a little disappointed in communities in both sides, I guess, or multiple sides, when they think that relaxing your hair specifically uplifts whiteness. When we know for
Hmm.
a fact we all have black relatives that have very fine, straight hair.
Yeah.
Their hair is not going to hold a curl, not going to
Right.
hold shit. They will
Mm.
always be able to brush down their hair. They will never need a relaxer.
Yeah.
So when you say that people are getting relaxer or trying to be white, you're also denigrating the black people who are born with that texture hair.
Yeah. Well,
And
as
so
you
if
said,
they want to
blackness.
get a, yeah, I'm sorry, what were you saying?
I didn't mean to interrupt. You said blackness is one of the most like diverse cultures. So there's a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't. Nobody looks the same.
Yeah. And so I don't think that I personally, of course, I'm not going to speak for anyone else, but I don't think that people relaxing their hair are necessarily aiming towards Eurocentric values. Do I
Hmm.
think that the Eurocentric beauty standards have played a role in how popular they've become? Yes, but I don't think that people who are actively choosing to relax their hair want to be white. Maybe they just want to have finer hair. Maybe they want less time to manage it. Maybe they want a
Hmm.
really short haircut. It's none of my damn business, but we have to stop equating certain things that are naturally black
Hmm.
to Eurocentric values. We should stop giving them that credit, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
That's the dang truth. That's a real truth there, a hard truth, because it comes from us. We define ourselves.
Yeah.
Oop.
Jasmine, you had mentioned that you had had your hair relaxed before. I also have had relaxed hair at some point. Has anybody else at any point in their lives like relaxed? It's not a, there's no shame in this. This is it's just a stylistic choice. But
Oh Lord Jesus, your
tell,
mama calling me out about it. Yep, I sure did.
talk to us about it. Tell us about
Mine
it.
actually, I was never when I relaxed my hair. I relaxed my hair in high school. However, I can't relate as far as shirking my blackness or anything because when I relaxed my hair, um, it was never about a cultural thing. It was
Hmm.
purely just aesthetic and
Yeah.
um admittedly I wanted to make all the girls in school jealous. So
Okay.
I
Okay.
was I was a little fast-tailed mouth like back when I was in high school. I was always wearing and doing and getting away with shit that the girls in school would get in trouble for, and
Okay.
the school was letting it slide. So like I relaxed my hair in high school simply because it was the cherry on top.
Hmm.
It was never about a culture thing for
Yeah.
me. Um,
You just listen to a lot of My Chemical Romance. That's
no,
all. Yeah.
no.
Okay, I'm
I
sorry.
was
That was
First of all,
projecting. That was
don't come
projecting.
for me. Don't come for me right now. Don't do this. Not like this.
Yeah. Okay, Helena, back in the closet. Helena, go away. Go away. Um, that is very funny that you say that, and I totally feel you. However, you know what? That makes me think. Do we think that there is let's observe the gender binary now in terms of youth, black youth. Do we think that there is a difference between black men or perceived men who are going to choose to do that style versus cis women? Do we feel like they are forced more so to wear their hair in that style, or no? Because I will say that as a perceived black male, more non-binary, but to the average person on the street who knows nothing, they are going to assume I'm a man. And I will tell you that having hair this long and also being a black man is shocking to a lot of people. Um, Versus where we might be more we could expect to see it on a black woman or femme, I should say.
uh,
Do you think there's
I
like a
I think that the correlation would probably have more so to do with the community you're in and
yeah.
that reflects you because, Lucy was talking about how she's from like a really predominantly black area and they were like, you've got the good hair. I
Hmm.
mean, I'm gonna say like around a lot of other black people, everybody has different kind of hair. um, when I lived in Georgia, for instance, it I felt like there was a different type of like masculinity in the black community versus I'm from Southern California and I live in Texas right now.
Yeah.
So here in Texas, there aren't that many black masculine people with really long hair, but the ones that do wear it in certain styles to try to present masculine still. And I feel like it feels like this unspoken requirement
Right.
to prove your
Yeah.
gender,
Yeah.
and
No.
I
Oh
I
yeah.
don't like
No,
it.
for
I
sure.
mean,
I mean,
I live in Austin, Texas, and you would think that Austin's so we're like blue, surrounded by
yep.
right.
Yeah.
the whole state, you know.
Right.
So that's what I personally think. Southern California is obviously just a lot different
Sure.
than Texas or Georgia, for instance.
Hmm.
And I do think that what you're saying about femme presenting or cis femmes and women, for them, I think that for well us, I should say us, I think that the pressure is that if our hair is short, or not relaxed or in a feminine
Mm-hmm.
style, then people assume our gender any other way
Yeah,
or our sexual orientation. And, ultimately, we can't control other people. We
of
just have to
course.
know, like, where we really stand. But I do think that there is a totally different thing because Hot Pink said, I wanted to get away with what the girls couldn't get away with, and they were letting me
Mm-hmm.
slide. And
Yeah.
I went to high school in Georgia, and that's some real shit. I had my hair in a mohawk like all the time, and I called it my fro hawk. Get it? But
Yeah.
I was literally suspended for it several times,
Right.
several times. Um, yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna stop talking now. Someone else should talk because I'm gonna
Yeah.
get mad.
Ooh, yeah.
The heat. The heat's messing up my flowers now.
Right. We're not trying to will, honey. Summer is coming. But honestly, let that fire free because this is a safe space. You are welcome to get however a feeling emotional you want. Yeah, it's actually interesting. You said something that I thought was interesting. Do we think like the same hairstyle on a perceived masculine person versus a perceived feminine person, why is it that a perceived masculine person wearing that hairstyle is then effeminate, whereas this a femme wearing that same hairstyle is then seen as masculine? When it's just a hairstyle, it has nothing to do with gender at all, right? Kind of strange,
Patriarchy and colonism.
you know. Yeah, think about that, right? Just something to put out there into the universe and think about. I want to ask the drag artists on our panel, or are those anybody who uses wigs in their art form, whether it's drag or not. How do you go about choosing your hairstyles, considering that not every hairstyle you choose is going to be like Afrocentric in nature?
Well,
Well,
yeah, I'm somebody who is I really love a look, and when I put things together, I am definitely a person that does head to toe. I think of all the details and the image I'm putting out, the character, or what I want people to perceive.
Mm-hmm.
Um I guess the thing about where I'm at now is that I have more freedom in what I can do, and like, and what I can quote unquote get away with, you know what I mean? Or what
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to pull off, as a lot of people like to also say.
Yeah.
Um yeah, I got to a point where there was a lot more freedom, but yeah, there definitely was a point where the Afro puffs weren't the cutest thing on stage, or weren't considered like the glamour or what the girls and everything was doing. Like
Yeah.
everybody wasn't rocking the lace front like fucking box braids, like everybody wasn't scissor hairing and all the rest of that shit.
Oh,
Like
this is
that was not considered the drag glamour. It was the Marcel
definitely.
waves, it was the
Yep.
this, it was the human and straight and the that. And that is still a part of our culture. That is
Yeah.
definitely a part of our styles and stuff. But I guess for me it was like seeing why I was doing that and thinking about who I was emulating, and what that was more about. Like
Mm-hmm.
I want to be more Lena Horne than Marilyn Monroe. Like that's
Yeah.
who I would rather have as a reference than someone else. So it definitely became a point to me of thinking about that when I am presenting that, because people do look at me and say, well, she says this and she does this, is she like really putting this into her work? And one of the big ways that I'm doing that, can I say this? Yeah, I'll say it, I don't care.
Yeah, please, please. Woo!
No, just for the
Mama's got some
pageant.
tea.
For the pageant, one of my looks, the hair for it, the look is very regal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a queen, and like it's a huge fucking fro to go with it. And I'm like, to
Absolutely.
me, there could be nothing that could be more fucking beautiful and fitting for this fucking look, and like
Absolutely.
regal for it. And also, like, not even lying, I was a little bit inspired by Bridgerton, because I was like, fuck yeah,
Oh my God,
like that is
yes.
my fucking queen. Like,
Yes.
so yeah, I think that's fucking cool, and it's really important to me now, and it's something that I've seen change within my own time in doing drag on the scene, like girls weren't doing that. People weren't doing that.
Well, and to that point, how often has traditionally Black hairstyles been seen as like clownish? Because we all associate those cheap fros with clowns, but as a person who this is how my hair grows out of my head, I don't think I look like a clown. So that association and that I think it's very harmful. It's very toxic.
And also
not thought about.
I know before you've seen the white girls who would get the $10 wigs from like the limb and like the hair stores and be like, thinking it's the funniest thing ever. And I'm like, bitch, my auntie's got that wig. And like a part of our thing with like, the Black Girl Magic with like me and my girls who wear the matching like auntie wigs is that like that is so much a part of our culture. And like it's so beautiful to us. And like it's fucking awesome, and it's not a joke. And it's this
right.
It's been around for 30 plus fucking years,
right.
I know.
Right.
Stop acting brand new.
Yeah.
Right. Mickey, you actually brought up honey. You just released.
Did I stir the pot?
You just released some what is that word I'm looking for? Like in the back of my mind, like in the back of my brain, in the back of my memory banks, like suppressed. There you go. You just released some suppressed trauma from me.
Well, let me tell you, like, having started doing Twitch now, I definitely got more in touch with the gamer in me again, and with it came a lot of evaluations again, where I'm like, how many times, especially, I don't know if those of you who have not played online games, there's a lot of times the community can be rather toxic, very white-centric. And a big thing is if somebody's trying to make a troll character or like a joke or just like somebody who's just outrageously over the top silly and their whole existence is a joke, that's like the character, they always default to the one afro option in the character creator.
Oh, annoying.
Yep. The fact that they have an afro option is cool.
What I don't like is when like people can tell online, especially with online gaming, if you speak a certain way, people gonna be able to tell that. Okay,
we can see. Yeah, we can see our siblings.
It is what it is, right? But then but what I really get tired of, and I've faced a lot of this bullshit, especially when I play like WWE games online. Those created characters who I'm like literally confronted with aggressive ass created wrestlers who are like white with the biggest afros or white with the cornrows, white with the dreadlocks, and being asked by random ass motherfucking little white boys or people who aren't Black. Yo, is this gonna offend you because I got a not Black character with the afro or the braids or the dreadlocks and shit? I'm like, you know what? I have had it. And it gets me because it's just like, and what was the point? First off, is your dick big enough to be trying to come for me about this subject? First off, let me ask that question. Secondly, if
you must be at least this long to ride this ride.
You gotta be at least this big to try and fuck with me that way, honey.
They really said.
If you're not, I swear for Jesus, if you really think you's cute, a lot of these white boys I be having to try and tell because it's always the white boys. I have had so many white girls cuss people out for trying it.
Yeah.
In my defense, I will say that. So shout out to the white girls who live for the Black community. But it really brings out a level of toxicity that sometimes you gotta sit back and look at it and be like, okay, bitch, hold on, because I don't remember how many teenagers I told, you know what, your mama should have swallowed you because I'm tired of dealing with your little bullshit. I'm tired of it. Like you look better running down your mama leg than dealing with me, honey.
All right, so coming to you, summer 2021. Please check out Hot Pink Shade's book. They are going to teach you how to read. It's going to be hitting store shelves, but it's going to be flying off the shelves or burning the stores down. One of the two, whichever goes first.
And it comes with a free bottle of pink hair lotion. Just for you, honey.
Yeah. To that point, actually, we did have a question in chat that I would love to address. We had a question. Let me go pull this question up. The question came from Aria Mess, and they asked, what is your one holy grail hair product? So you said pink lotion. And so that brought me back to that question. Does anybody have any, like, this could be any hair. It could be facial hair. It could be hair on your head. It could be hair in other regions. Whatever hair you need. Like, what's your, like, hair product go-to? Like, what is something that you could not live without?
So no matter what, I will always say got to be works for everybody. I don't care what kind of hair you have, what you're doing with it. Got to be, there is a purpose for everybody. I love that shit. I can't live without it. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
I just want to say that it does what it got to do.
It does.
No, not at all.
We love something with a supreme hold that can hold up to the ferocity of our hair, okay? So we don't play around with little baby hairsprays, okay? You can leave that at Claire's. Got to be, I feel that. Well, what else do we love? It could be hair implements too. Like, are there any like tools that you've got and you're like, oh my God, this changed my life? Because I will tell you, a good comb changes the game. Can
y'all hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
No. There's so Daenerys' daughter. What's her name?
Daenerys?
No, Diana Ross's daughter.
Oh, Tracy Ellis Ross.
Tracy Ellis Ross. There we go. It's like her anymore. She came out with Pattern Beauty, which has actually been a very great product. I did it as a bit of a splurge when I got my first stimulus check, and I was like, I don't know what it's going to do. Let's try it out. But I highly recommend it. I'm not sponsored to say so in any way, shape, or form, but I did try the sample pack, and they're you got it. You know.
Continue, Tracy Ellis Ross. Thank you for blessing us. Go ahead.
Their brushes, everything they're doing. Even Dita Ritz was showing me how to lay down my edges for the 15th time because I'm not the best at it, and I wasn't raised with this. And I didn't know. It's not easy, and you have to be. It's an artistry. But Tracy Ellis Ross with Pattern Beauty has put out some products that really help you lay down your edges right and help you even sit down with a toothbrush if you have to and explore it.
Yeah.
And really find a way to make it happen. And that is a higher end, but there's that clear gel that you get at any beauty store, you know. You can start there and work your way up and find out and just sell it with some got to be. But I swear by the Pattern Beauty products right now. And I also will always swear by that clear gel that you get at the beauty salon. It's just
we love it. Sometimes you don't have to break the bank to be fabulous, but in regards to Pattern, I do agree, and I actually think that is it's really exciting. We talked about Black-owned companies, right? It is exciting to see a product like this being prominently displayed in stores now. Like, the stores are prominently, it's right up at the front. They are not hiding it. They're not keeping, you got to go through Pan's Labyrinth, ask 1.5 million employees to find the blacks. Like, you know what I mean? It's not a hush secret anymore. These are just the products that are going to be working for your hair. And in fact, the language that they're using is better because it's not this weird, like, skirting around the issue. It's simply just saying, this is good for 4C hair. This is good for this hair. They're talking about creating products for different hair tech. I cannot hear you if you're muted. You're asking for it's like they're giving products for different types of hair and allowing you to explore them and be informed about the product you're purchasing. So I love that. Pattern Beauty, go check it out. Anybody else? Last little, like, hair pieces, things that you could not live without. Anybody got a bonnet? I know I sleep with a bonnet.
I only sleep with one when I got my hair in braids. That's it.
Fair.
For me, I wouldn't say a hair product, but my head wrap. I have several head wraps and scarves because I feel like that's a great way to wear your hair in cornrows or whatever protective style in between hairstyles and still look regal when you go out. Just because, I mean, y'all already know I live in the middle of Texas. So if I go out with my flat twists or my cornrows, there are lots of people who are going to be fine with it. But then there some people are gonna be like, "Oh, are you tired? Bless your heart. You
Oh,
having a bad day? Bless
Not
your
oh,
the
heart."
bless your heart. Oh, honey
not all
boo.
that. You can leave that at home. Oof.
Y'all don't even know the shade. These white ladies be serving it to you. They don't even care.
Ah.
They're
But
trying to give you
a head
pneumonia.
wrap,
Shit.
they trying to give you something. Uh,
Oh
Yes,
my
ma'am.
goodness.
Yes,
Um,
ma'am.
well, we love
yes,
that. A little rap. Cute.
yes, I wrap it several different ways, really easy and really affordable way to look elegant, beautiful without maintenance and upkeep because a lot of people feel like they can't have nice hair because they feel like they either don't have time, the patience or the
Mhm.
energy to do it. And so their in between days end up being Saturdays if they feel like they can't like look elegant as well. So a turban, head wrap, I love those. Always a good too.
Yeah. So this is gonna take us to I wanted to ask you guys a question. I think the burning question on everybody's minds when they thought hair panel. And that question is, can I touch your hair?
No.
So let's talk about that question and unpack that a little bit because at some point in everybody's life, every Black person's life, they have had somebody either ask and then do it, ask while they're reaching, or not ask and grab. Where do we think the obsession with invading others' personal space and touching their hair, where do we think that stems from? Let's try to figure
Privilege.
out. Definitely privilege.
Privilege. Because all of these, I'm sorry. You know what? Let me not speak out of turn. Oh, child. I just caught myself. I'm so sorry.
It's a touchy subject. It is definitely a touchy subject.
Red Ivy looked like Red Eye. I'm gonna give you this one because I've been talking over you, and I apologize, Red. I am so sorry. Let me
Like,
give this one to you first
Yeah.
because let me show some respect.
you're I think the reason why they feel so inclined to, to want to, I think it's because since our hair is just so different from the most because we have such unique and just like kind of just like not just like it like because like I just think it's because our hair is just so unique and different than like most people because you see just people with like most people just like with like straight hair or just long or like wavy hair, but since ours is just ours is very different. I think it is them because like they want to be able to even if they because since they will be able to experience it themselves because since they don't have this hair they want to be able to to be able to like even get like a glimpse of how like that kind of hair is. They just want to like reach in and touch it because they're like,
Yeah.
oh, because like it's kind of like when you see like a dog that you think is cute. And
I
that
would,
you think
yeah.
that they want to like rub it because like you think it's so
Yeah,
cute
but
and nice, but like
yeah, but like you ask people before you pet their dog.
right,
True.
yeah,
Oh
but
my
like
God, can I pet your dog? But you can't even have the common courtesy to ask to pet me, baby. Oh no. And the real reason why, like no shade, no tea, the real reason is because our society has not had to think of Black people as humans for a long
Mhm.
mhm,
time. And we still don't. If you really think about it, a lot of animated movies where Black people are the characters, we cannot stay human worth of shit. Have
Right.
you noticed that? Even
Mhm.
in Soul just came out, and the main character turns into a cat, a soul, an entity. We can't
A
even say
thing.
human.
Yeah.
We cannot even be human.
Right.
Science has said before that we were not the same type of species as
mhm,
white
Yeah.
people. And so
Mm.
it is ingrained in their ancestral history, same as ours, that there have been people who have not considered us human. And
Yeah.
so, on a subconscious level, they don't think that they need to ask us,
Right.
and they think that asking us is a common courtesy. Bitch,
Right.
you're not supposed to be touching me anyways.
Yeah.
And don't
Yeah.
Period.
and don't tell me
Period.
it's because of what I look like. And don't tell me that because I wear yarn twists like to my ankles. And I'll
Yeah.
Oh,
wear it to where it's
that
like
me too.
glow in the dark and black light
Mhm.
reactive. And then they'll still look, y'all know I live in Texas to be like, oh my God, but it's just so bright. I'm like, what I'm wearing has nothing to do with your lack of self-control. I need you to get the fuck out my face.
That part.
right,
That part.
What
Okay, like
sends me?
seriously, what I look like. No, you can't just go grab the teddy bear off the
Mhm.
fucking shelf unless you anticipate I'm paying for it. And I guarantee you can't afford this. I know you can't.
Uh,
Honey.
I know that's right. I know that's right.
What
Let
sends
me
me? Oh, sorry, Lucy.
no,
Lucy, go ahead.
I just, let me tell you why it extremely triggers me. And like we've already touched on the subject even more, but as we all fucking know, there were literal zoos where they had African people in and brought them
Yes.
around and paid
No,
to be
literally
fucking
that
touched and
part.
looked at, and
Literally.
it
Yeah.
viewed as exotic, and seen as this weird fucking thing. So
Yeah.
literally, when someone would do that to me, it was literally like an ancestral touch where I was like being like the ancestors were moving through me, and I was like, oh,
Seriously.
how dare you?
Every time
Yes.
my ancestors move
Yep.
through me, and I tell them, mind your fucking business. And
Absolutely.
you watch out.
Literally.
Watch
It's
out.
absolutely.
And that's also why I keep it protected in a head
Mhm.
wrap.
Yeah.
So first of all, let you know I'm coming. You're gonna see
Yep.
me from a mile away. Like
Yep.
you see this head wrap, I'm 4'11. It's taller,
Mhm.
it's taller than me. You see it, but you also see I'm the type of person that guards my energy and my space. And
Yeah.
if you happen to see my natural hair, it is a blessing to you. You're welcome. No, you can't fucking touch it. No, you
No.
can't touch it. And guess
No.
what? That's the power that I get to reclaim, because you cannot put me in cages and parade me down around like the fucking
Exactly.
Beast Boy anymore.
Yeah.
I don't have to be your fucking monkey or your fucking animal or your slave or your fucking mammy anymore. You don't get to fucking just touch me. You
Right.
don't get to just
Right.
touch anyone. And
Well,
white people are not used to people telling them no
no.
or having
And
boundaries.
to that point, I want to say that there has been an evolution of this phenomenon, if you want to call it that, where before, like even like 5-10 years ago, people would really be just reaching out and grabbing fistfuls of
And be
people's hair.
offended if you said
If you,
don't
that's
touch
what
me.
I was just about to say, that's what sends me is when you check somebody for putting
Mhm.
their hair for touching your hair without permission, and you tell something so little as
Oh,
when
please don't
I
do
used to
that.
have
This
a
took
braided
forever.
ponytail. I used to have a braided ponytail, and
Yeah.
I live for the dramatics. I live for, and it's for drag, and I'm the only one in Seattle who ever does their hair like that. Damn near dragging the floor. Okay, I get it. It's a nice spectacle. Take a picture, pay me $5, and then you can look at it however long you want.
Yeah.
But
That
then when
part.
they try to grab your
Grab it
hair,
and flip it
all
for
the
you.
littlest thing, the very like,
That I
please
will.
don't touch my hair, they get offended as
Yeah.
if you did something to them
Right.
Yeah.
when you just said, don't touch me.
Yeah.
Like, if I came up and tried to touch your hair, Becky, and said, "Oh my God, it feels so lifeless." Oh, how
Not
cute.
that.
Oh my Lord, look at that. Hey,
Oh
mom,
no.
look, I can run my hair without getting my fingers stuck. Isn't it a miracle? People grow
Yeah.
their hair like this.
Child,
Bitch,
I
you'd
can't
have
even
the
get
whole
my
cops on me. But
Right.
when I tell you don't touch me, all of a sudden it's a
It's a
problem.
problem. Well, let
I
me
don't
tell you,
Seriously.
and
know.
then
I
the
think that white people want to be wanted, and that's the reason why they're fucking freaking out like this.
Well, be
sure.
Okay?
reincarnated as a melanin creature. No, no, I'm
No,
kidding.
they're like if you ask that question, oh my God, what if I touch your hair? There are a lot of white people who are like, oh no, no one can touch my hair. But there are a lot of them that'll be like, oh, I wouldn't care. It's because they want to be wanted so bad. They're
Right.
pick me's, okay?
Yeah.
And that's why they
Sure
have to
thing.
preach the fact that they're so superior and so supreme all the
Yeah.
fucking time, is because they're not.
Well,
They're
That's
real.
the
and
I
issue.
mean,
They don't know how to
yeah.
deal with inconveniences. They don't know how to deal with people's boundaries, and they want to be wanted.
well,
Yeah.
But nobody
Jasmine, as we
wants
know,
people who don't have to try.
Mhm.
delusions run deep in so many places, darling. We know this.
Yes, yes.
So,
Oh yeah.
In the con, throughout the con, we have been talking a lot about performative allyship, and as a piece of like wisdom to glean on, I just want to like something that people can take away from the conversation that we just had is we moved on. Well, mostly moved on from the fact the grabbing the hair first, asking questions later, right? But now we're in this stage where even people who are our allies, the performative aspect comes in that they think that they're doing you a favor or a service by asking. By asking,
Oh
by
my
asking
God.
and giving it that second of delay of like, hey, I'm asking, can I touch your hair? There's this feeling and this connotation to it that is as if they're trying to prove themselves as an ally by being like
Yeah.
respectful. And it's like, I don't care that you asked me to touch my hair. What I don't appreciate is this. What are you doing? That is a common decency and respect. Give it to
Can I say from
please,
what I've
please.
learned in with my art history background and my own education in that And the amount of time I spend in museums, which is almost far too much. You have to set aside separate exhibits for little children to touch on objects, to understand textures, how gold feels, how does this clay feel, how does an impressionist painting feel, so they don't reach up and grab the painting. Because we as Black people are art. We are living artworks through this world. And for anyone to go up and depreciate or grab at us is so egregious.
Yeah.
But we don't have the luxury of some white person that goes, well, go over to Sally's Beauty Supply and touch this such and such texture hair and understand what it feels like. We don't have that luxury. We're stuck in the real world where they come right up to you and pull it.
Yeah. Well, I
And
will.
that's-
Oh, yeah.
I just want to point out to anyone who's listening is we are human beings. We are literal moving works of art who have undergone all the stresses, all the strenuous tribulations and shapings that go to shaping a work of art and should be respected as such.
Absolutely.
Period.
It is a behavior that needs to be completely eliminated and unwritten. So, for all of our white allies tuning in today, thank you for being here. Exclamation point reps, reparations. Definitely go ahead and tip all of your panelists for their time and emotional labor, but also entirely erase that interaction from your life and your mind. I will tell you, it definitely still happens, as all of us. Literally, just last weekend, I was off. I had my braids done. I had braids. I took them out for the panel, but this a queen who was in the show was drunk after the show. We were all hanging out and drinking, and they had grabbed my hair to be like, "Oh my god, I love it so much." That was their thing. "Oh my god, I love it so much," and I was very polite. But then when they grabbed a fistful of my hair and tossed it over my shoulder to drunkenly slur into my face that they are just so on my side and they love my hair so much, when I tell you that they will never do that again, because I looked them stone cold in the eyes and I delivered the most tight right. I did not raise my voice. I didn't need to. They weren't worth the emotional effort. But needless to say, that experience outside, like, whether the intentions are good or not, do not do it ever. Erase it entirely from the vocabulary of your actions. Okay, that's all I'm
Yeah.
saying. Because
Yeah.
no matter what context you
That
will
part.
do, it is never okay. And you never know who you also never know who you're gonna mess with, because I was nice. But somebody else might have popped them, and then we would have another reason to scream Black Lives Matter in the streets, because we all know how we all know how the end of that story goes. Grabbing and touching, and that's, I want to bring that to like the ultimate conclusion of this point, the touching of the hair. Why is it so triggering? Why is it so important? Like, yes, the dehumanization, all of this, right? But modern day, why is it so important? And I think personally, and I'd like to hear your opinions on it, is this is an act of violence.
Yeah.
Because if I, as a Black person, or us as Black people, if somebody touches our hair and we rightfully get upset because of all the things that we just discussed, if we are to allow those emotions to then be portrayed into the world, into this interaction, what is the end result of this? Are we now going to be seen as angry or belligerent? And are the police going to be called and get involved? And am I going to lose my life as a Black person who is out of control, right? So that is
Yeah.
why I think the real root of this issue is that it is an act of violence.
I completely agree with that, because as Black people, we are raised to have more consideration and responsibility on every interaction we have. We have to be the bigger person,
Yeah.
or we feel that responsibility. Of course, we don't have to, but we feel the responsibility and the pressure to always perform, always be and always be like ahead of the game. I personally, want to touch back onto your what you were saying about performative activism with our friends that are allies, right?
Yeah.
I have been in a situation where I was at Walmart, my hair, yarn hair, glowy, really bright to my ankles, and someone that worked at Walmart grabbed my hair. and gave me that excuse. Oh, but it's so bright. And I was with a white woman who goes, oh no, hell no, no, you didn't. She starts getting really loud. I'm like,
Yep.
no, 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 no.
Yeah.
I said, because when the Walmart staff comes up and they call loss prevention or whoever the fuck they call, they're not going to see you yelling at this lady. They're going to see you with me, and they're going to think that I'm your influence. They're
Right.
going to think that I either influenced you
Yeah.
or all they're going to see is that I'm angry and you're yelling to defend me, even though I'm going to be over here with my hands in my pockets.
Yeah.
Bitch, this is Copper's Code, Texas. This not even Austin. We in the country, bitch. I'm not going to tell them,
Yep.
that's not nice. Children know better. I'm going to say some little shit like that and cuss this lady out later.
Yeah.
But I don't have the time, the patience, or the privilege to weigh whether or not I'm going to survive defending my boundaries.
Right.
If I'm going to live through defending my boundaries.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
I'm saying
Very
is,
that.
hey, please don't touch me. I really don't like that. And another thing, a queen recently who is mixed, who is biracial, was touching my hair at a show to tell me that she loved it. And I was like, excuse me, this took hours. Like, please don't. And she immediately was like, oh, I'm so sorry. And I looked at her like, this doesn't matter to you?
What?
Does this not have to matter to you?
Yeah.
In what instance do you think it's okay to grab anybody else's hair? Has no one ever done this to you? I started to think, are there people who've had experiences where they're not treated like animals? To the point where even people in our communities are treating more of us like animals because they think it's socially acceptable, or just haven't had an experience to teach them the difference.
And it's sad
It's
because there are people like that. People
Yeah.
of color. There are people of color like that, and I'm
yeah.
sure they're in
And I
every
was
city out there, and it's alarming. But I think it's the hypocrisy for me, because now that I think about it, for hypothetically speaking, Jasmine and I are out shopping. If we were to walk up to some white lady and touch her hair, say how
Just
adorable
grab
it is, God bless your heart for trying, chances are we might get the police caught on us. But let the tables turn immediately. We could flash a look if the tables were turned and somebody done patted Jasmine's hair without her permission, grabbed my braids without my permission. We raise our tone 2 levels.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna be on their phone quick and
oh,
in a hurry.
absolutely. And we
Quick
were
and in a hurry.
harassing
So
them.
for me, it's a hypocrisy for me.
Absolutely. I mean, that's the thing. It is a kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation where
Very
the
that.
end result is always violence. And that, I think, is why it is. It is a small, simple, insignificant interaction on paper, but the deep level of implications that come along with it, and the constant pressure and stress of living in this world while being Black, and knowing that all it takes is just the wrong time for you to have allowed yourself to get out of line, so to speak,
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
express yourself rightfully in the moment, is all it takes. So
It almost
that
feels
being
like we're not allowed to have feelings too.
right, it to me, the discussion
that.
has taken too long. I feel like this conversation of stop touching our hair, stop touching our hair, stop touching our hair. I feel like this was a joke when I was a kid. I'm sure it was a joke
Yeah.
when my parents were kids. It was a
Yeah,
joke when their
absolutely.
parents were kids. This conversation is not new. This isn't a new revelation of the invasion of space and the dehumanization of Black people through touching their hair. This is not a new thing. And the fact that the conversation is still happening, I think it's gone on far too long. This panel should all be about celebrating, oh my God, do you guys see the most recent, wasn't that hairstyle really cool? That's what this panel should be, right? But that's not the world that we live in. The world we live in is a world where this panel, we can have those moments, which I do want to talk about. So keep in mind some really amazing, inspirational hair pieces, because we got to get some positivity here. But
a brilliant hair creator like Hair Witch for all of your beautiful hair needs. Why, this ethnic hair creator is centrally located right here in the Midwest and has competitive rates and comes to you right on time.
Oh
Check it out. Hair Witch for all of your needs.
Wait, is that a Athena Sinclair hair
It
wig?
must certainly
Yes,
is.
I love her.
It's
We
great.
love.
That face, Jasmine. She
Like when I
let
tell
that lip
you,
go, honey.
I am
Yes.
spending money for fucking. Oh, I
Get
love
some good. Because we need. Got this. Please
those
get that wig.
stacks.
We need to see
Yeah.
you in the wig. On behalf of the entire world who needs to see this, like, please feed us. We are very hungry for you in the wig. We'd love to see that. Let's move on to that though. I think we've touched enough. Don't touch our hair. And exclamation point reps in the chat if you want to go ahead and spread some love and some financial sustaining to some Black creators. Let's talk about some good hair. Who like when you think about like some hair that has changed your life, right? Like what hair really speaks to you? What really spoke to you? Like, I mean, there's a lot, so we could talk about this all day. I mean,
Oh,
go.
can I please go first? Oh my God.
Please take the floor.
Okay, y'all, I was born in 91, but like TLC, Janet Jackson, their hairs and their makeups and their outfits.
Yes, honey.
Okay. When I was younger, I tried so hard to just look like them, and everybody was like, "Oh, you want to be white, blah blah blah," and I'm like, "Oh, you forget, lest you forget." But I would like to say all the extra long ponies that you can hit people with, any long hair that can be used as a weapon and a protective shield. I am for it. Janelle Monáe.
Yep.
Yes.
I was about to say
to the legendary braid. Helping me with my classic style. I always love having my hair like this, but people always called me like an old auntie or grandma or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't fucking care. Janelle Monáe does it. I do it now too.
You do not look like an old grandma, and if you do, baby, I look older than that. I'm like grandma.
Right.
I've never
First of
felt so
all,
many
I
erotic
never
feelings for a
heard
grandma
grandma.
before.
I mean, you
okay.
definitely look like somebody's niece or daughter, but not the grandma. I missed
You
that
look
part.
amazing.
Yes.
You look amazing. Grandma, bitch. As if.
Where?
Yeah. The only time let's make a concession. The only time a white person can touch my hair is when I'm whipping you in the face with my ponytail in my number. Okay? That's the only time that you
But
I'll
then
let
again, that's when you're touching them.
I know.
Like, nah. Yeah, appropriate time for a white person
I
to
will
touch my
allow
hair is
your face to
never.
touch my hair when it's being thrust upon you during a Janelle Monáe number. Yeah.
You can get the passerby though.
Yeah. Savor it while it lasts. Yes, actually, I was gonna say Janelle Monáe. I love the pinup style done with fro texture hair. That was a really cool thing for me because it's a reclamation of the time. Because this isn't what this panel is about, but a lot of people do like to romanticize the past and say, "Oh my God, I should have been born in the '50s. I just love the style." I'm like, well, Black people couldn't drink from the same watering fountain in the '50s. First of all,
they were stealing our music. They were stealing everything.
Yeah, but
everything.
So reclaiming the style of that decade with Black hair texture, I think, is a very poignant, tongue-in-cheek, and powerful thing. So I love that for that. Any other really like iconic hair moments? Who do we love?
I mean, there's so many I can think of, but when I think of Black excellence and Black History Month and what it means to be making Black excellence now, I have to go back to Hair Witch, Athena Sinclair.
Yeah.
She's one of my favorite hairstylists. I have worked with wig stylists literally all over the world. I've got gems from all over, whoever you could think of, and I still would go back to her every single fucking day and get me a wig from my Black girl in Arkansas before I go and fuck with anybody else. And it's like a part of what makes it so special is because she has a lot of those traditional, like old school roots of like making wigs and creating styles and the styles that she creates, like it's totally elevated my drag too. Like me and her connecting was very special. Like I can't sing her praises enough. I love her work. There's also people like Edward Scissorhands, who is like another one of the famous like wig and stylist that's out right now, who is a Black man that's like killing it. Another one of my favorites is Super Braider, who is a Black girl out of like Florida, young girl, like one of the best braiders in the world right now. Like there's so much Black excellence like going on that is like flying under the radar that it's
Yeah.
just insane. Like these Black creators are out here giving you shit that like people are stealing and then charging $300 extra for it.
Yeah.
You know what I
You're
Yes,
mean?
that
so right. You're so
part.
right. And they're putting it on the wrong model.
Yep.
Right.
Insane. It's
I'm glad you
insane.
brought that up. I'm so glad somebody brought that up.
I
Oh,
just,
yeah.
I won't mention names, but you know who you are, Self Tanner.
Okay. I think my go-tos is like Dawn Richard. Do any of y'all know who she very like what she likes to do with her hair has inspired me so much. And I don't care what anybody's got to say about it. Nicki Minaj in the music video Motorsport, where she had that long, I know, Lucy, I know, but that long pink,
We love
like
pink.
that to that
Yeah.
that I don't care what anybody has to say about her career, her manners. I don't care. That has actually inspired me so much.
Yeah.
No, I
Um,
totally get it. Wasn't that
uh,
Tokyo Styles who made that too?
Yes, it
Who
was
yes,
is
Tokyo
that was Tokyo
Style.
Tokyo
another
Styles
Who's
iconic
a
Black
gets.
woman?
very
I'm
iconic,
sorry,
yes.
but when it comes
The
to
two
Tokyo
heart
Styles
ones that
hair,
Tokyo Styles did
that
recently.
is
Yep.
Oh, stop it.
yes,
Stop
it
it.
floods my basements
Yep.
every time I think about it
We
because
I mean,
love
Floods
it.
the
it is
basement.
so just
that's Black
unique.
excellence.
That's Black
Absolutely.
excellence
Absolutely.
at. I
Absolutely.
have been told it's by
Oh,
some white chick. What?
What?
also what I just thought of, the girl who is from Chicago who has been doing Solange's hair for a minute. She does like the beautiful braided crowns that like Solange wears and shit.
Yeah.
You've like
Yes.
seen
Oh,
it
I
in
don't
some of
know
her
her name
performances.
though.
Oh my
She's
God, I gotta
Chicago based and she is
Yeah.
another amazing braider.
like
Yeah. Isn't Cynthia
braids and
Lumsey? Isn't Cynthia Lumsey Chicago based too?
She is, yeah.
Ooh,
Like
she can die
literally
some her.
the dye queen. Like she is the best,
The
the
when
fucking
queen.
it comes
best.
when it comes to wigs, I gotta give it up to a local queen, Kalina Marcos.
Mm.
She Lucy, I don't know, you may have heard of her because I know she likes a lot of your stuff. Um, but when it comes to wigs, I don't really like wearing them because my aesthetic is one nobody else does. So fuck it, why not take it and run with it?
Yeah.
So I'll give it up to Kalina for the wigs, but any of these Black queens or and kings and ladies and gentlethems and everything in between that be
Absolutely.
rocking like the unique, sculpted braid look or the
Mm.
long flowing braid look when
Yeah.
it drags
Mhm.
behind you. I that's my shit. That's the shit that's
We
like,
love it.
Same.
take
Well,
my
there's a lot of power in
fucking
a
money.
wig. And also, like most things in America, didn't Black people bring wigs over? Didn't they make that happen? Like,
Yeah, that was something I was going to talk about too.
please.
Like when y'all were talking about people taking our stuff and charging $300 more for it. Here in Austin, there's this huge, gentrification wave, as in like a lot of
Yeah.
other places. And I don't even have to say this wig shop's name. I just know as soon as I start talking about it. If you know, you know. This one specific shop literally takes wigs online wholesale and charges more than 3 times more for them,
For the
and
flat wig.
changes their names
Mm.
so that it's more aesthetically pleasing. Puts them on white mannequins and renames them and has like
Really.
these wig parties and charges so much. And when I found
Say
out,
the name. Say the name.
I'm not gonna lie, I am here for it.
If we get $300 donated through ! Reparations, Gothis Jasmine will live stream and destroy this wig shop in Austin, Texas. Go ahead and put ! Reps. The fire will rain down upon. She's gonna set fire to the rain, and the rain is this wig shop in Austin, right?
honestly, yes. I will not take it back either. I will say it proudly.
Yeah.
But honestly, a lot of
Continue.
queens out here go there because they feel like that's the place to go to try to get a custom wig made locally.
Yeah.
And so this wig shop will hire other performers and not like they don't get the pay for the work that they're doing. The wig shop gives them this overpriced wig tells them to design it. They set the price for it and gives the designer a commission. But
Yeah.
they're taking out the profit that they would also make off of the wig instead of taking the part of what the wig costs. I guess I don't know how to explain that
So
in business terms,
they're
but
purchasing the wholesale wigs and then price gouging them up and selling them as if they had created them themselves as a custom unit.
they take off the brand and they take off the name and then they rename it to something
We
like
love
Jennifer and
capitalism.
Heather and Chloe.
Oh
So
wow.
y'all go ahead, reparations, go ahead and pay so we can
Yeah.
end them.
We're trying to buy some Heathers and Chloes, okay? So we need some we need a couple hennies in the chat.
When they named one
No.
Jasmine, that was pretty much
Crazy.
when I had my last straw.
Yep.
I bought the wig 50% off. I was like, this is the last thing I ever buy from you, bitch.
I mean,
It
I
was hot,
understand
though.
that.
It was very nice.
Yeah.
It was very nice.
So you brought up the gentrification in Texas. Speaking of gentrification, I think we haven't talked about one other really prevalent conversation right now in Black culture in regards to hair, which is the co-opting of braid and protective styles being worn by white people who do not have neither the hair texture to support it or the culture to justify it. So how do we want to go into this? Does anybody have like a pre-prepared, like, because I know we have all thought about this. So if there's anything that you have needed to say, yeah, somebody, maybe Joe or Ivy, if you have something that you'd like to add.
So, unpopular opinion within our community, I know I would probably get a lot of hate for this. I honestly do not mind when people of races wear like our braids. I honestly do not mind at all because I've always, me personally, I've always seen like hair as just another expression of oneself, and that people should be able to do what they want with their hair, because like I do all sorts of things to my hair. Like I like do different colors, I do different styles, I wear different kinds of wigs. I do so much things for my wig. So I honestly never had an issue, me personally, when like I said, like white people would don wig. I mean not wigs, braids. I honestly never had it because like they like the style, and like if you do it, roll with it. Because I never honestly had truly never had a hatred for it.
Yeah.
Like I know a lot of people don't like it because it's like they're like stealing part of our culture. Like yeah, I do. I understand where you're coming from.
Which is so fair. It's so fair. It's so fair. It's so fair. It's very real. It's very real and very honest. And the biggest thing that I find that connects both ends of the conversation is that an understanding of anyone can put a crown on their head. Anyone can. But is it legitimate and does it make you a queen? Whereas with our hair and our struggles and our heritage, our past, and our actual strength that we feel, literally every strand of our hair, when we're showering and a piece comes out, we're going, fuck. Every little bit. That white girl understand it? No. But she can have fun. She can feel it. She can express herself. She can do it. And she can do whatever she wants to. But the truth is, at the end of the day, this is our regalia. This is our heritage. This is our life. This is our respect. And that's why when we wear our literal crowns, that's one thing. I was having a tough time in my life. And I was taking care of my father for a minute. And I was like looking up crowns because it's a thing. Mickey knows from our D&D days. I love crowns. I collect crowns. And there was a book, a children's book about crowns. And it was literally an illustration of a black kid with his big natural hair as his natural crown. And the whole narrative from start to finish was him realizing that that was his crown, God-given right.
Wow.
And that's what we all have to remember as black people. We literally go through our lives with literal crowns. Whether we have the actual, we're wearing it or not, it does not come off. And so when anyone wants to step to that or wants to challenge that, they're illegitimate. They don't have the proof. So they can play they can experience like the other one, and there's nothing you can't challenge. You can't challenge that, you know. But we still have the crown in our throne.
Yeah.
Right.
You are so right.
Amazing.
And I agree. In regards to Ivy, your feelings are very valid. And in regards to what you had said, I think the simple act alone, the material act alone of wearing your hair in a style as an aesthetic or a stylistic choice bears no morality. So the actual act alone has no morality. I think the larger and deeper part of the narrative that comes in is when white people wear the styles that they didn't necessarily invent and profit off of them in terms of money, or are afforded privileges that people who have been wearing the styles who are Black do not get, such as when a white person wears braids, it's exotic, it's cultural, it's stylish, it's trendy. But when a Black person wears braids, it's like ghetto. So I think that's the real, like, that's where the narrative here comes in. Because I mean, I agree. Like, honestly, like, girl, if you want to dye your hair pink, great, dye your hair pink. But
I think,
however, the social implications, and sorry, so social implications that I just mentioned, I think are the bigger, more important part of the conversation. Sorry to cut you off, Hot Pink. Go ahead.
no, you're good, babe. I'm sorry. I think for me, what it's the repercussions that come with said hairstyle
Mm.
that the Black community feels so fiercely that conveniently bypasses anybody who's not Black. I have been in group interviews and whatnot. I have been in a group interview where a white girl had her hair in dreads,
Mm-hmm.
and the topic of hair came up, and she admitted she hadn't cleaned up her hair. She'd had it like that for months, yada yada yada. Clearly unkept. I literally, and I told the manager, I showed up to that interview from my hair appointment, and not to make any jokes or nothing, but my eyes were still pulling. They were that fresh.
Mm.
And I was told that my look was too unprofessional.
Mm-hmm.
I'm always told that, oh, in drag shows, oh, maybe you should try a wig. Yet some of these white girls want to really try it with the braided wigs or some shit, and saying, oh, they're doing a Brooke Candy number or some opulent shit.
Not that.
No, I'm not, Jasmine. I'm not saying I'm with you, Jasmine. Hold on, babe. Look, I'm with you, babe.
I realized that it was coming towards you. It's not you.
I love you, honey. I see you.
I
I'm
love
with you.
you.
My hand is holding yours, trying not to punch Becky in the nose. um, but like, I just I don't understand. To me, the privilege of it all. And the double standard of it all. Like, I was doing a show where I wore another braided ponytail because that's my shit. And the crowd was living for it. Okay, whatever. This white girl comes in with her shit was traveling, honey. She had a wig on wheels. Could not keep still worth a goddamn. Honey, Joe, vary that. This was her shit. This was her shit. Her wig had ADD. It could not stay still with all them braids. When she was whipping her hair and shit, you saw hairline or bald spots and all the things and hail, and the crowd was just here for it. And I'm sitting here, I got a headache, almost forgot my damn lyrics because my damn I have pulsations up in the cranial region because when I get my hair done for a show, I like to go from the hair salon
to the show.
Baking. I'm still baking when I'm sitting in that fucking chair, and I leave immediately my lift to the show.
Yeah.
And the crowd is just, this bitch walked away $200 in tips. My ass, 20.
Well, there is a reason that minstrel shows were popular.
Oh
And
yeah, I was about to get
in
into it. Y'all, ooh.
in that same regard, what is the difference between in the 1950s, everyone's favorite era, them doing minstrel shows, and white performers now putting on, we're talking about hair, but it also does go farther to performative blackness, right? They're
Yeah,
putting on the affectation. They're lip syncing, and if they were to speaking out loud, they'd sound,
that they would
you
say
know
the N
what they
word.
sound like.
Mm-hmm.
You know that
Mm-hmm.
they say it at home when they're practicing the track. Let's just say
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yes.
Yes.
And there's like it's like titillating. It's titillating to the audience, like a white audience. It's a very unamusing to a black audience because we have been, as performers, we have stood on the sidelines and we observe the crowds and we can see every person's face. We see who is bemused and infatuated and is like gagging for the drama of this thing that is definitely uncomfortable and wrong. It's very apparent, but they love it. Versus people who live in this culture and are prosecuted for just living in this culture or being of it, and then how they see it, they don't like it so much.
Yeah.
Jasmine, you were going to comment on that.
Well, I was actually gonna comment on white people wearing hairstyles that are classically known and traditionally known to be Afrocentric hairstyles,
Please.
especially when it comes to locks. People calling them dreads. That term was actually coined because colonists considered these locks dreadful. They literally started calling them dreadful locks. And that's
Mhm.
why Rasta people, lots of different cultures decided to try to reclaim that term,
Yeah.
dreads and dreadlocks. And so when white people say that, whether they know or don't know, I immediately am on defense because I'm like, words are power. The connotation for dreadful is only bad. It dreads is
Yeah.
only bad. So when you're
Yeah.
talking about, oh well, my dreads and maintenance, how do I take care? Don't ask me how to take care of your dreads, dude. And then when they'll be like, oh well, Vikings and Nordic people wore locks and braids too. I'm like, bitch, they did not go to war in box braids, okay?
No.
They
They
weren't
had
wearing
no way
locks
to
like
clean their
that.
hair. They had
They
Yeah.
no.
weren't
That's not,
wearing
and that's
locks like that. Yeah, and you could
Yeah.
get mold inside of your locks that's counterintuitive and counterproductive for this protective
Yeah.
style that you're trying to claim anyway. So the point of the matter
Mhm.
is that they're doing it for a style and fashion sense that they could not create or grow on their own. They are
Yeah.
literally stealing from other
Right.
people to try to figure out what their identity is because they're too afraid to reach back into their culture because it was stripped from them in a
Yeah.
certain way too, just not in the same way. And it's so exciting and
Yeah.
fascinating to be a black
Right.
person because we know much more. Like the
Yeah.
generational trauma is a real thing,
Yeah.
and I feel like a lot of white people are used to black people being their caretakers and their
Mhm.
parents. And that is a societal thing. And so even now they'll be the same age as us. And yeah, girl, you can wear box braids if you want to, but am I gonna accept you? Like they're also looking for acceptance. They're looking for people to like
Yeah.
them. So you want me to
Yeah.
fucking pat you on the back because you're wearing box braids?
Mhm.
You're gonna wear an afro or you're gonna wear locks as a professional and really well-known drag performer, and you think that you can just keep your locks and that you don't deserve any feedback because you're Thorgy Thor? No, I don't like it. I,
Who?
I feel some kind of way. Oh, oops,
Mm.
my bad.
You're good. Speak. Yeah, no, I mean also like the argument doesn't hold water because we've seen Celtic braids.
Yeah, and it's not good for
Weren't
your
they
hair. So why are you
pleats?
doing
They're
it?
Weren't they
Why
different.
do you
considered?
want
Weren't
people
they
to
called
like you?
pleats?
Yeah.
The most
Yeah,
common
yeah.
archaeological find within the Viking community was the comb. It was a bone comb. We have thousands of bone combs.
Yeah, so they were
They
not
Yeah,
wearing their hair like that.
scientists,
It was
archaeologists, and
not like
historians
that.
will tell you that, but it's a lot of people who are just looking for a justification to a means, and they want to
Yeah.
remain remiss to the fact of
Right.
other people's struggles
Right.
and perspectives. They
Yes.
want to stay in their ignorant
Yeah.
bubble, so they will
Right.
find any scrap of
Mhm.
any iota that will help them
Mhm.
justify
Yeah.
stealing somebody else's
Yes.
culture because they want racism to be a personality trait.
Right.
That's
Ooh.
it. They want to
Ooh.
be picked. They want to be picked.
Ooh.
They want to feel special, and that's why they think that they can
Yeah.
just wear hairstyles that are still
Yeah.
illegal to wear in Mississippi. You still
That's
cannot fucking graduate if you have locks in your hair. So when a white person
That
yep.
decides to wear it,
part.
it does feel different. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah, hair is still a different expression and it's still just an extension of that. But at the same time, when you know that there are people still literally not being able to have a fair walk at an education
Yeah.
because of their hair, a white person cannot wear it and tell me, oh, well, America, it's just an
Yeah.
expression. You know what? That means that you're
It runs
choosing
deeper.
to still ignore the many
Yes.
and
It's
many and many people and generations and ancestors who have fucking died
Yeah.
over their right to express
that's it.
Very
themselves,
that.
who
They're
and how they really are.
they're very
It,
those people that have those responses. Oh well, I wasn't there, so why should I have to care about it? I wasn't there,
right.
I wasn't alive. Why should I?
Yes.
What does that have to do with me? And
Right.
it's those kind of people that I'm just like, you know what? I hope the fuck you can't sleep at
Yeah.
night. I hope you are the one. I hope you
Yeah.
are that white person with with box braids who's watching that story about that kid who couldn't get his diploma because of his hair.
Hmm.
I hope that shit eats at you, and I hope
Yeah.
to
What
God
about the
you can't sleep
Yeah.
wrestler?
at night.
And the wrestler who had to have, this was just last year, mind you. Last year, mind you,
Hmm.
2020 or 2019, he had his head shaved on the mat before he could
Oh
wrestle
yeah,
in the
Mm.
yeah.
in the tournament. They
As
made him
let me
shave
tell
his
you,
locks right there.
as
Yeah.
a wrestler, as a former,
And to
like, even though,
humiliate us as well. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
honey, this
It's a
was
lot.
to me, it was Jim Crow all over again.
Hmm.
Well,
Sorry, not sorry about it, because they didn't give a damn. It was like, oh, you doing something we don't like, we're gonna wheel your ass out in the middle of God and everybody and shave
Hmm.
your head to humiliate your ass
Yeah.
until we deem you worthy by our Eurocentric standards to
Right.
be competing with us.
yeah,
Call,
Yeah.
and
call me what you want, but that
Right.
was Jim Crow all the fuck over
Yeah.
again.
And okay, to tie this into a bow, I think something we had talked about on the last panel was in a post-racial society, the way that somebody wears their hair really isn't even a topic of conversation besides the casual, like, oh, cool, I like that style on you, it looks good. But where we are right now, the implications that it carries are deep and they are painful and they're real and they're
yeah,
violent. Like to wear a very clearly black style of hair on a white person is to ignore to declare to the world that you're ignoring the voices of black people and also the struggles that they
yeah,
face. And it's going to take a long time to get past that.
Yeah.
Let's first make sure that the hairstyles are legal first, because that is, I mean, you got to go back to that because there's no other argument other than that needs to be
yeah,
said, right? Black
yeah.
people
That's the biggest
it
one
is
for me.
illegal
Hmm.
to wear their hair in that style. So to do so, it's actually okay. Well, let's talk about it a little more because I'm still in it. And we got time. We
I
got
love
time. We
it.
got time.
We'll
I
reclaim
think
it.
there's and then tell me
We're
if you guys
reclaiming our
feel
time.
this. We
Yes.
are. We surely are.
You know?
Reclaiming my time. Is there an element to this that is almost self-sacrificial, in which a white person then puts on a hairstyle that is perceived by society to be ghetto or classless, and so by doing, they're martyring themselves by saying, well, I rebuke my privilege publicly. Is it to me, there's an element of that. There's like a dose of them feeling like they are going to now be celebrated as a person who has seen their whiteness for the power that it holds and then said, I'm not going to participate in that. I'm going to like reject it. There's like they might not have it as articulated as I just said it because it's like a subconscious thing for them, but
Yeah.
is that an element that you think a part of this puzzle?
Mm-mm. Nope. Nope. Not here. No Jesus. No ma'am. No
Mhm.
ham. No turkey. Nope.
Yeah.
No,
I
I'll say it.
think that there is like a kind of double-edged sword. Like, if white people are wearing these hairstyles more, then
Mhm.
more people will see them and can have an opinion about it.
Yeah.
And there are more and more people having certain opinions, and those lead with people going to look up something. So I think that right now we are in a way of evolutionary thought where we want to know more about the things that we see. We want to
Yeah.
know more about the human experience. And I think that's part of us being like a collective society, a hive mind, if you will. And so
Yeah.
when certain people like that
Mhm.
misuse or use their privilege to wear black hairstyles and
Yeah.
then say whatever they want about it,
Hmm.
whether it's good or bad, more of our culture is getting exposure.
Yeah.
And so there are times and spaces where we're able to like reclaim that and be like, hey, look, I don't really respect or appreciate how you're doing that because this actually came from
Hmm.
here and here and here. And this
Right.
is why, and this is why it's
Yeah.
impactful. And this is what I think you should probably do about this situation.
Sure.
We do have more space for dialogues and communication,
Yeah.
um, even though it hurts.
Yeah.
But I do think that I'm speaking for more than myself when I say that, um, touching on to what I was saying about generationally, white cultures and white people being used to Black people raising their children or teaching them life lessons or how
Mhm.
to deal with anything in general. Unfortunately, it gets like really tiresome to have to tell them the same shit our ancestors been saying, like,
Yeah.
yo, you still not letting me wear this hair and you wearing this hair and you
Right.
want to call it something else?
Yeah.
Like, why do I have to
Yeah.
keep being your mom over and over again?
Yeah.
Why? Why do we
W-
have to?
Why does Destiny's Child have to wear straight wigs, but Pink gets cornrows
Pink
at the
got
same
cornrows?
time? I don't know if y'all remember.
The pink. I was like,
Oh yeah,
I
the
get
early
girls and I
early
like
two
them.
thousands. There was a movement within the pop music and pop culture where like a lot of white pop stars were being put up into black styles because it was selling. But then the
Oh,
black artists who were creating music and trying to push to that same level were changing their image to be more marketable in a white sense.
It went all
So
the way to Vogue magazine. They were throwing it in editorials.
yeah,
It was a gag. It was high fashion.
right. Yeah. Just, food for thought. Just food for thought.
Say you want to
And
do
that
it,
goes back to what I was saying about like when white people wear the styles of black people and capitalize off of the
yeah.
eccentricity of it's like rather absurd.
It's
Considering those same
upsetting. Oh,
black people couldn't wear that style to work. They couldn't wear that style to go work and earn coins.
yeah.
So for somebody to then say, well, I'm white, so I'm wearing it and I'm going to make hand over fist coins to wear this. There's
Yeah.
like it's just like deeply wrong. There is no way around it. Yeah,
Can I touch on one thing
please.
specifically about the concrete idea of so we have hair and then we have an idea of prejudice. And what's always blown my mind is that someone can look at a girl across the way and see her hairstyle and be prejudiced and decide that she's worthless or she's trash or she isn't worth the job. Because I've worked many jobs. I've worked a lot all over the place. But this one place down in Georgia, out in East Georgia, that girl dropped off an application and he was like, nah, she can't work here. And it wasn't just her name, it was also her hairstyle that blew my mind. And then I've been with people and they pointed people at the mall, they pointed out their hairstyle and they've said this. It's like our identity and the fact that that alone, the way that we wear our hair, and an identity that we wear with pride, our literal crowns, and people will prejudicially project an idea onto you,
Mhm.
which is the actual definition of prejudice.
Right.
And people seem to forget that. And I go, no, no, no. When I wear an afro, when I leave my house to pick up my mail, but I feel like I have to put on a hat first because even though it's fine, it's kind of wild, it's kind of cool. I love it. That there's a fear that I will be prejudicially judged.
Yeah.
And that, for us as Black people, it's absurd. It's
Yeah.
too much. It goes beyond. We shouldn't have to spend so much money and worry about these products and do all these things. And if we don't have to and don't want to, which we can because that's our
Yeah.
fucking privilege. Like,
Yeah.
hello.
No,
Yeah.
But
right.
it still blows my mind that personally, I have to question if I'm putting on a hat. I had to put on a hat too when I started taking on management nightlife industry.
Mhm.
I felt that if I wore my hair naturally, I wouldn't be taken seriously. And that was proven
Yeah.
when a certain liquor vendor showed up. And I was like, I'm just going to wear my hair my afro out. Cloth cut. I had just done the Midwest Beauty Show. It had just been cut to the highest expectation, which I was paid to wear it for. And I still was challenged, told, maybe don't wear that style.
Yeah.
So it's like we when people say like, why is this such a big deal? I go, this is us. This is our identity. It's a literal extension of ourselves.
Yeah.
Of who we are. So it blows my mind that anyone would question that
Mhm.
and not understand the levels. Sorry, I went off in
No,
this way.
Joe, I definitely agree with you. I appreciate that. And we are getting close on time, so I'm gonna go ahead and thank you guys so much for opening yourselves up, being vulnerable, having these important conversations in the public. To the chat, I hope that there are people out there, Black people, who are feeling affirmed, validated, and safe here. Please continue to hang out with us for our con. We have soul food coming up to close us out tonight. And then tomorrow we have a whole nother day full of more Black content creators from all over Twitch and Twitter and all, like, honestly, we have a big lineup of people that I'm so excited for you to see, as well as our drag show ending the show tomorrow. But in the meantime, I'm going to ask all of our panelists today, if you gotta go ahead and leave, if you were to be able to just tell the world right now one thing about Black hair that you just want them to know. It can be something small, it can be something simple. What would that thing be? Exclamation point reparations in the chat to tip your panelists, and make sure that Black creators are getting loved and getting paid for the work that they're doing. We make it look easy because we're beautiful, but it is a lot of emotional labor to come out here and open our hearts and like share our experiences that a lot of times a lot of us would rather just forget and continue pushing on strong into our lives. So the money does definitely, it really does matter. So I really appreciate all the tips that we have been receiving. You've been very generous. Continue to do so today and tomorrow. And let's go ahead and send off our panelists with love. Hot Pink Shade, if there was one thing about Black hair that you would love the world to know, what would it be?
It's valid. It's worthy. It's beautiful. Look but don't touch. Period. Point
Thank you.
blank.
No questions, Zach. No discussion. No discussion. This is not a conversation. It is a declaration. Okay. Thank you, Hot Pink. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Gothis Jasmine.
What I would say about Black hair is that you can't put it in a box because you haven't had a full look of the box yet. We're still seeing what true Black hair really looks like. And we are shedding a lot of our patriarchal and societal views on things. Just because someone relaxes their hair doesn't mean that they think that they're white. Straight hair does not equal white hair. Curly hair does not equal bad hair. We are still exploring ourselves, figuring out ourselves, and expressing ourselves. And like Joe said, do not try to apply your prejudice on Black people and Black hair. It'll come however it comes. And don't ask me if I'm tired if it doesn't look like how you don't want it to look like. It's none of your damn business.
That's
Okay?
right.
Boom.
That's right. Thank you, Jasmine. Thank you so much for being here today. Joe Mama?
If anyone's listening still, it's just that after I've been drinking on and on and on, it's just that I think it's important to remember that hair is hair, your hair, and remember how important it is to you, and whether you discard it or treasure it, that someone else may either discard it or treasure it as well. That transparency